I love that snatched eye. Look at
Me too.
Yeah. My ponytail's too tight. Wah! Where did that noise come from?
Your face. It came out of your face.
Better than my rear end.
From your diaphragm.
Hey dolls, it's Wilma Fingerdoo with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 6, Episode 2. And I'm finally joined by my drag daughter, Wilhelmina Boxfarts. How are you, Wilhelmina, finally?
I'm super, finally.
We have to apologize for the delay in getting these reviews out because somebody had been tongue-kissing the public or something. I don't know, you had a flu, a bug.
I refuse to apologize to anyone for anything.
Which is the pain I live with.
I'm in my selfish era.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
So when did that start, at birth?
Well, slightly after birth. I came out, I immediately was like, I'm hungry. It's all about me.
Yeah. So we delayed filming for 2 weeks while you convalesced. And then we filmed last week, but it didn't work.
No.
So we've got it all. Well, I can't be everything to everyone.
Is everything recording?
Yes.
Is there sound?
Yes.
Are we here?
Yes.
Did we watch?
Yes.
Do we know what's happening?
Yes.
Are we real ladies?
No.
I had to grab my bosom.
What's with it? It's because they're new.
They're new.
That's what happens. Even when any woman gets new boobs, they're touching them all the time.
Can't help it.
I went with a D cup. Is that all right? Do you think it could be bigger?
I mean, everything could be.
I just didn't want circus tits.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I just didn't want circus tits.
No. You're allergic to peanuts.
I am. But before we get started, I do have to thank a couple of people. I want to thank Nota Nightlight off of YouTube for a tipper-do. Thank you so much, Nota. You're a doll. I also want to welcome Herman Dynaberg to the Fingerdoo family on Patreon. Welcome. If you'd like to leave a tipper-do or join the Patreon family, the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, there are links down below in the description box. I also want to take a moment, speaking of Patreoners, to thank the lovely Nick Sweet, who not only sent me this fabulous Halloween card, it's all a bunch of hocus pocus, he also sent this fabric. Finally, Nick, I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long to use the fabulous fabric you sent, but I'm finally getting into a role to make some mother-daughter outfits. Because this one here, she wants lots and lots, and I'm not interested.
I was covered in sackcloth when I walked in here.
And pins.
This is better. I feel like you left some pins in as just a fun, cheeky surprise.
Just to keep you honest.
Keep you on my toes.
So, Drag Race UK Season 6, Episode 2. Well, we kicked it all off by congratulating Kyron for her first win of the season. She's hit the ground running, and I couldn't be happier. I think she's fabulous.
I think she's absolutely fabulous. Yeah, a well-deserved win.
Yeah.
Excellent first week.
Yes.
Very excited to see how this week will shake out.
Yeah. I love it at the beginning when people can win and everyone's gracious about them. Oh, good for you. Somebody won and everything. Because we know that's not going to be what it is in a couple of weeks. Marmalade even had a lovely little poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm getting out of this drag because I am sick of looking at you. And well said, and I'm sure all the rest of the girls were in agreement because nobody wasted any time de-dragging.
No. So then it was the next day in the workroom. RuPaul himself showed up in a vision of tartan.
Yes, which Chanel glowed on right away. But here's the thing to remember. Not all plaids are tartans, but all tartans are plaids. So I'm not saying that Ru was wearing a tartan, but she definitely had on a plaid.
Like Chanel said it was a tartan, so I just assumed that she knew what she was
Chanel makes everything about her. That's all. Just calm down. Just calm down. Ru had the queens without any explanation, not even telling them what it was all about, divide into 4 groups of 3. The first group was Kiki, Charity, and Lavoie.
Zahira, Octavia, and Kyron ended up in a group together.
As did Dita, Relisa, and Asaki.
Which left Lily, Chanel, and Marmalade as team number 4.
Yes, and whether they all wanted to be in those groups or not, they just seemed, at one point, it seemed like Relisa was just standing there going, oh okay.
Yeah, it was not smooth. There was nothing smooth about the team arrangement.
And I liked that they didn't know what the challenge was, so there was no real plot.
Like, you're a singer, you're an actor.
No, I need you here. Yeah, so, and I thought for a brief minute that it was going to be the girl group. I just thought for some reason it's going to be the girl group, but no.
No.
They all had to create little fashion houses and present a cohesive collection of 3 looks. And the 3 looks were their cocktail look, lady boss look, and red carpet look.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
The inspirations for their looks came from Rue's dusty old box.
Well, there were icons in there that represented the decluttering that Rue did at her house. Like she does any of that on her own.
One of the maids told her what was going on.
Yeah. Well, even then, sometimes it's just what's happening.
You've got too much going on.
Yeah.
It's time to whittle down. Whittle down?
What does that mean?
Clean it?
Whittle?
Whittle down?
Wheedle?
Wheedle?
It's like beetle and whittle.
Whittle?
Erode. Just say erode.
Just erode. You've got too many accoutrements. You need to erode some of them. Is that what Coco Chanel said?
Yeah, erode one thing. One thing.
Yeah.
Let it just wear away.
Just drop it.
Let it go.
Just stand by a big gushing river until something flows off your body.
Barf.
Barf.
For the most part, the queen seemed okay with this challenge, except Zahira was a little concerned that she was clearly in a team with 2 people who didn't sew.
2 people who didn't sew, and one of them has immunity for this week.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what happened, Kyron didn't care what was going on, because try or not, she wasn't going anywhere. Nice to know that.
Yeah. It's nice to know. Yeah.
I feel like the immunity is something they brought back. I feel like they haven't had immunity for the next challenge in a long time on RuPaul's Drag Race. It's certainly something that they've eschewed on the American franchise. So
well, I do like that. I like the immunity because you get to see which queens are actually still going to try. Because some of them are like, oh, I've got immunity. I can just relax and kick up my heels this week. And other queens are like, well, no, I've got immunity, but it's not going to slow me down.
Other queens that were a little worried, well, Lavoie.
Yeah.
Lavoie's very famous and busy, and she there is a reason that she gets people to make her costumes, because she's busy and she can't sew.
She's been to a lot of fittings.
Yeah.
But she's never threaded
an actual needle.
Machine.
No, she doesn't know which end is up with those things.
I don't know. Bobbin.
Yep.
Bobbin for bobbin.
You brought her, you bobbin.
You bobbin.
The only team that seemed cool, calm, and collected was Team 4, which was Marmalade, Chanel, and Lil. And that's because they all sew.
3 seamstresses.
Yes. No waiting.
So one by one, the queens reached into Rue's dusty old pink box to find out which room they were going to be assigned from her mansion. Charity was first and pulled out a pair of pink furry handcuffs, which
Hell surprise.
obviously meant it was Michelle's room.
Yeah. And Rue made a very clear statement in saying that her room was in the basement.
No windows.
No, it's a sex dungeon. That's what it is. Yeah. There's a reason that she doesn't have it at her own home, because she's got kids.
But just don't let them in the dungeon.
Sometimes they go sneaking for Christmas presents.
Well,
gotta watch
then
out.
they're going to get punished.
That's how you keep them from sneaking for Christmas presents.
Yeah. Just put random dildos everywhere to terrify
Yeah, and
them.
a big old ball gag. That'll stop anyone from snooping around, let me tell you what.
Yeah, the child's just going to ask what it is.
Yeah, well. Kyron was next, and she reached into Rue's big old pink dusty box and pulled out a blue die. Just the one. It was a big one. It was quite large, actually. I'm surprised. And apparently that represented Rue's game room.
Which, to me, the sex dungeon and the games room, they sound like the same room.
Yeah.
How are those 2 different spaces?
Because that die had all its corners smoothed out, so it could have still been the sex room.
You don't know.
I do.
You don't know.
I do.
You don't know.
I've been there.
Relisa pulled out a disco ball for the very cleverly named disco room.
The disco room. I'm surprised it wasn't called the ballroom.
I'm surprised that they still have a disco room and they didn't get rid of it in the 80s.
Rue's very old. Rue's very, very old.
It's one of the original rooms.
Have you seen Rue's Architectural Digest tour?
No.
Disco room. It's right there.
Is it?
Yep. It's delicious. It's gorgeous. It's in the front hall, kind of near the living room.
It's the foyer.
Separated with a fireplace. It's gorgeous. And finally, Marmalade pulled out a rubber ducky, which represented Rue's health and wellness room.
Peaceful.
Because when you're rich, you don't have a bathroom. You have a health and wellness room.
I just gotta go pinch one off in the health and wellness room.
Light a scented candle.
Light some incense.
So, without much fanfare, the queens got to it. The one thing I have to say was when they went to their rooms, each group went to their room and revealed it. And they all had objet. There was no fabric, it seemed.
I was very concerned. I thought this was an unconventional materials challenge. I was like, oh no, how are you going to make anything out of that? And thankfully they pulled fabric out of somewhere at some point.
Yeah, there was fabric tucked in, but I was not surprised to hear none of the queens liked the fabric. It was all crap fabric as far as they were concerned, so they still had an uphill battle ahead of them.
Concerns.
One of the things that was in Michelle's room was a blow-up doll that Lavoie found very quickly. And I have to say, it made me laugh just for a brief minute because looking at Lavoie and the doll, they look like they go to the same dentist. They had a very similar smile on their face.
Inflatable smile?
Yeah. Phony. Once the queens assessed their options, they got right down to sewing. Well, most of them did. Zahara definitely did. She was the only sewer on her team.
The rest of her team just started warming up the glue gun.
Yeah, well...
Well, you gotta play with the cards you've been dealt.
That's right.
And they plan to use exclusively cards in their outfits, apparently.
But I will say this. One of the things that impressed me about Zahara was she was very helpful. She seemed to still work on her own project. She had chosen the red carpet look. No, the cocktail look.
Dress, yeah.
That's right. And even though she was being asked almost every minute to help the other girls with something, she still focused on her own project, such as it was.
Such as it was. A tube dress.
I think Activia had the right attitude for this challenge because she said it was a design challenge, not a sewing challenge. So she wasn't worried if her execution wasn't great, as long as she had a good design. And then she took a moment to point out that all of the queens on their team had style, which was a clear read that no one else in the room did.
I mean, calling it a design challenge and not a sewing challenge is fine, as long as you have the skills to actually piece your outfit together. You can't just be like, oh, I designed this fabulous outfit and just show the judges your sketchbook.
Yeah.
You can't just hold it up in front of you, because if you did, then Kiki might have had a better week. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're getting way ahead of yourself. Somebody else who seemed to take the reins right away was Chanel for her team. Even though they all could sew, she brought military precision to their whole attack.
Yeah, she wanted to run it as an actual fashion house.
Yep.
You do this, you do this, you do this. So instead of having one queen work on their own outfit, they all worked on them collectively.
Yeah, and I think that seemed to work for them. No one seemed to have trouble with it, and they certainly didn't feel like Chanel was telling them what to do.
No, and
but she was.
Yeah.
Something that I thought was very...
Shady?
Yes, shady, was Chanel asking the room who could sew. Because clearly there was some worried faces. Specifically Lavoie, but Lavoie had a great attitude. She said, well, I've been to dozens of fittings. I've been to great fittings with huge famous designers like David Emmanuel. Don't trip on that name she dropped. And felt that was enough to give her an edge for designing anything. And, well, Chanel was very quick to say, just because you've been to a fitting lot doesn't mean you can drive the car.
Do you feel like she had that line in reserve? Like the whole point of her saying who can sew was just like, oh, I have this gorgeous line I have to say to someone.
I would like to think that Chanel has spent months and months before taping writing down a bunch of burn lines in a book, because there's something about her that doesn't allow me to think she's clever enough to be that quick.
Maybe it just comes naturally to her, as long as it's mean.
As long as it's mean and shady, she's going to, yeah. But compliment somebody or tell somebody their child looks good, no, won't happen.
Butter wouldn't melt in that mouth.
No. Thankfully, Rouge showed up, which stopped all the shady shenanigans, and met with the queens to see what they had planned. Team 2 went first, and the first thing that they told Rouge was that their name was House of Cards. Mostly, I guess, because of the game room.
Yeah. It's very nice of you for saying that there was no more shade, because Rouge 100% for shade had Octavia's eyebrows. Her boy brows.
Yeah.
She's like, oh,
look at your eyebrows, is all she said. And Activia was like, why, thank you. No. Wasn't a compliment.
The best.
They are something, I'll tell you what.
So the House of Cards showed off their ideas, and Rouge seemed kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah.
A little underwhelmed.
Yeah. I would have changed it all up if that
I would have changed everything. I would have second-guessed every choice we'd made up until
Yeah.
that point. But they were just like, no, this seems fine. This seems fine. We'll just keep going with this.
Yeah. Next up to the judgment table was team number 1, and they told Rue that their designer house name was Cellar McCartney. But if you say it with a British accent, Cellar McCartney,
Yeah.
sounds more like Stella than Sella.
So you're just gonna spell out that whole. You don't
Joke.
walk everyone through. Well, Rue didn't find it particularly funny.
No, Rue
either,
didn't
so
care.
it's not.
No.
Yeah. He's like,
No.
oh, okay. And also didn't seem to find the outfits very
No.
funny. Kiki's was quite vague. It was just sort of a heart with maybe legs.
We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
It was a mystery.
As for Chera and Lavoie, I don't even remember what they designed. It was so underwhelming to me.
The only thing I remember was Lavoie using RuPaul's head on the
That's right.
the head of her lady boss outfit.
To sell her lady boss
Like,
look.
that was
yeah.
smart. That was
Yeah.
clever. I would have done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Anytime you can take a moment to kiss Rue's ass, do it.
Pucker
Do it.
Yeah.
Lip gloss and go.
Put on some lip gloss.
Team 3, a.k.a. House of Mirrors, was next. And I liked Release's drawing, but it was very vague and looked like she was going to have to rely on that fabric, which, why not? Let the fabric do all the work.
Let the fabric do all the work.
Yeah. I thought Dita's design was also a little safe looking. I mean, she was going to do a lady boss look and she had a say something hat features, so I don't know.
Had to do something with all those compact discs they were given.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Rue did have some comments for Dita. She didn't come right out and say you seem sedated, but that was kind of the gist of her comment. Like, I feel like you're, holding back, and what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for, girl?
And Dita said, well, she was just waiting for a moment where she could overtake the other queens. But as we all know, watching RuPaul's Drag Race for 400 years, if you wait, you will miss it.
Yeah, you gotta hit the ground running. The cameras are
Make your
rolling.
moments happen.
I'm just waiting for my moment to shine.
Yeah. Well, then you'll
Shine.
wait all the time.
Shine, shine, shine.
Yeah. I was waiting for my moment to shine, and I didn't get a chance to show everything. Those two things always bother me because you had the same chance everyone else had.
Same chances.
That's all I'm saying.
Same chances.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Rue checked out the House of Zen.
Yes.
3 lovely designs.
Yes. And here's the thing. These 3 queens can sew, so their designs are more concise. I mean, even Lil had written Dietrich 30s, and there was a top hat involved in a suit, and it was like...
And a moustache.
I see this. I see everything you're talking about. I see it. I also like Marmalade's sketch because it looked like Erte designed by Bob Mackie. And it was just very exaggerated and fantastical and gorgeous. And then Chanel's look was all right, but Ruth felt that her boat neck could have been more interesting if it was asymmetrical.
And a boat neck is a type of neck and not just an insult for Chanel's, the shape of Chanel's actual physical neck?
It's a little bit of both.
Is that what I'm... Okay.
A little bit of both.
You've got a bit of a canoe elbow, but I didn't want to say anything.
It's a catamaran. Let's just not lie.
Well.
You're only seeing one side, so it looks like a canoe, but when you look full on, it's a catamaran.
Oh, there's another hull underneath all of that.
Yes.
Look at all your hulls. Double hulls. Lots of hulls. Look at us knowing things about catamarans. I know one thing.
What is it?
There's 2 hulls. That's all I know. Is that what they're known for? Multiple hulls?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can barely remember how to say catamaran.
I've been on a catamaran.
Have you really? Why?
I was in Cuba. I was at a wedding. It was lovely.
Oh. They had a wedding on a catamaran?
Yeah, we went snorkeling. I saw a Cuban cockfish. It was very exciting.
What was his name?
His name was Pedro or something. He was lovely. Swimming around and there's nothing there. Speedo.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that cockfish. I don't think they like it when you call them that.
Attracting all the fish. It's like,
Ooh, your bait is huge.
that reef doesn't look dead at all. I have to cut all of that out. You can't say cockfish.
Is it not a real thing?
A cockfish?
Yeah. For the most part, the majority of the queens found this challenge to be a struggle, as most do. It's like the sewing challenges are coming. None of you have learned to thread a machine? Come on. For instance, House of Cards didn't even worry about designing anything. They started organizing their wigs first, so procrastinating is what that was.
Distractionating.
Yeah,
If you know your outfit's going to be terrible, then you distract us with as many things as you can. Wig, ridiculous makeup, lots of jewels, anything you can do.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Not one to let sleeping dogs lie, Chanel threw more shade by asking the House of Stella McCartney, or she called them Stella McCartney, if they needed help with their sewing machines because it'd been a long time and she hadn't heard any of them running yet. I don't know, for somebody who's got her own challenge to complete, she seemed very interested in how everyone else was doing.
Well, yeah, because she thought they were doing badly and that really interested her. Are you doing poorly? How fascinating.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Whatever.
That's how she stays young.
Yeah, eating everyone else's hopes and dreams.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's what haggis is made out of. You hope and dream. It's not what it's made of, and
it still is. Yeah. I have to say, I was very impressed with Zahira because for somebody who seems very flighty and socially scattered, she was very focused on this challenge and very helpful to her other teammates.
Well, I think that their lack of any sort of sewing skills is what kept her focused.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I better... if I don't step up, then this team is done for.
Well, Kyron at least felt that it was very helpful, and she was very grateful, too, because she said because Zahira was helping her sew, she was going to help Zahira be talented. Oh, shade! The only queen in the workroom who seemed to be drowning right there as it was happening was Kiki Snatch, bless her. She just didn't seem to be able to land on a design, and she, in the first day, changed her design like 3 or 4 times, which was annoying to her teammates because they were trying to have cohesion, and they have to keep using the same fabrics, and it was starting to become an uphill battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, I felt like Kiki just really needed to ask for help and just didn't want to ask for help, so she did not get any help.
No, none.
So then it was the next day in the workroom, and quite frankly, the room was a disaster. It never looked worse. They clearly didn't clean up at all, or maybe they were just hoping that some fairies would come in and design some outfits from the scraps that they'd left on the floor. Speaking of being left on the floor, Saki Yu came in on crutches.
Oh, yeah. I kept thinking, like, what the heck happened overnight? Like, what was she doing?
Well, she either was pushed or fell in the shower, and she injured her knee.
I don't know. I fell in the shower. I don't believe that's ever what really happened when somebody has a black eye or a broken arm. It was like you were cage fighting again, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, fell in the shower in your 30s. I'm like, oh, really, girl? In your 40s, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. That tracks. In your 50s, absolutely.
Yeah, that's you now.
And in your 60s, why are you just using a chair the entire time?
I have a chair. I don't stand in the shower. I'm not stupid.
So relaxing. I have to say, I really enjoy sitting in the shower.
Yeah.
I only did it for a week, but relaxing.
Take a magazine in with you.
Yeah. Read one page, then it's all wet, and then it's fine. Then,
It's all right. I read it. I don't need it.
I can't read anyways.
So with tears in her eyes and a broken heart, Saki Yu had to bid the queens adieu because she needed to heal. She needed to take care of herself. And I was sad to see her go. I really was, because I don't know anything about her. I hadn't seen much of her, but I really enjoyed getting to know her for that short period of time.
It did throw House of Mirrors for a bit of a loop because they had to figure out how to make their 2 outfits a little more cohesive and united. So the queens continued to get their outfits in order. House of Cards continued to lean on Zahira, who insisted that Octavia needed to have some sewn elements, not just some glue in her outfit. So it looked like Zahira was providing those sewn elements. And over at House of Stella McCartney, Lavoie and Charity had just a lovely discussion about the generational differences in drag and the changes from when Lavoie started.
I was very surprised to hear Lavoie talking about her beginning in drag, how as a theater person she kind of looked down on it and wasn't very proud of doing it and didn't tell a lot of people that she did it. And as she became more known and developed an act and everything, like she's been on every major TV show that you can be on in Britain. Lots of people know who Lavoie is, even if they don't go to drag shows. So she's really turned it around, not just for herself, but for audiences in Great Britain.
I think she was also a lot of times the only drag queen on a show, and if you're the only drag queen that's there, then you're gonna stand out. And certainly, 20 years ago, drag was not nearly as mainstream as it is now. So it was nice of Lavoie to sort of acknowledge that she's learning stuff from these young queens as they learn some stuff from, the talented queens of yesteryear.
Yes. And then it was time for the runway. Ru looked gorgeous in her high-low dress with matching boots.
Is that what you call that, a high-low?
Yeah, high in the front, low in the back. It's like a dress mullet.
I was confused. It just looked like she was about to fall over.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
I don't like a high-low dress. I don't.
Do they always look like that, or is that just on? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I don't think I need a high-low dress.
No.
I look like I'm falling over at the best of times.
It's a cheat for people who like to show off their legs, mostly sluts, but still it's an evening dress, so they have to wear a gown. So it's a workaround.
Sluts don't always want to show off their legs, though. It depends on how much kneeling they've been doing.
It's true.
That's smart.
If they were good sluts, they'd have knee pads.
Yeah. Prepared sluts.
I have knee pads.
I have knee pads.
Yeah. Michelle was yummy in yellow, and Graham Norton was looking gorgeous, this time in purple.
And our guest judge looking her usual crazy self, Kristen McMenemy.
I love her so much.
I love her so much. I think we've seen her on...
She was on last year. Last season as well.
I was very excited that she was back as a judge. She's a super fun judge.
Yeah. And then it was time for the fashion show. House of Cards was up first, and we had... Who went first? Zahira. I don't know. For all the work she did on everyone else's dress, it was clear she hadn't spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah, we had a green tube dress with
a little cowl top, neck.
Was that a sleeve or was that a cape? Or
I don't know what it was. It was something to put cards on so she looked like the other queens.
Cards
That's what it was.
Poker chips.
Yeah, she had the poker chip earrings and she'd put some poker chips on her shoes, I think, as well. But that wig was kind of sad, too. It looked like something that had been curled but not styled. So... It was a rough look.
Yeah. Honestly, the best part of her look was the presentation.
Yeah, she sold the hell out of that.
She pretended to be very drunk.
Was she pretending?
I mean, I would have been like, I was this drunk when I picked out this outfit. Like, that's the kind of drunk energy that I would have been trying to present, rather than, I put this outfit on, looked like a nightmare, and got drunk to forget my woes.
That's exactly how I felt it was, too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her a Fingerdoo. As crappy as that dress was, she sold the hell out of it, and why not?
Feeling very generous.
Well, she's not getting much more than that. Kyron was next, and I have to say, what a waste of immunity, because she looked fantastic. Those exaggerated shoulders paired with that mohawk wig, gorgeous. I thought she looked great. So, of course, I gave her a Fingerdoo.
I was quite shocked at how much of an outfit she had.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any of that being made.
No. There were a couple of the queens that you didn't see much of what they were making until they were on the runway. But still, it looked like she had made it. It wasn't like she ran out at lunch and bought it or anything. So, well done.
Pulling up the rear, poor sweet Octavia, looking like the saddest waitress at the saddest casino in the saddest part of Las Vegas. And the wig didn't help. The barrister's wig, which Octavia thought was hilarious when she put it on. And the judges did not share that opinion.
The sad part of Octavia's presentation was she didn't sell it as hard as Zahira did, so I'm going to give her a Fingerdoo. She could have tried harder.
She could have tried a lot harder.
Yeah. Next down the runway was the house of Sela McCartney, and Charity went first. And I have to say I was impressed by this little dress that she made. It wasn't groundbreaking or innovative, but it was a dress. It was not as crafty as Octavia's look was. So I'm going to give Chara a Fingerdoo.
I mean, for the garbage bag sleeves alone.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a sleeve made of garbage bags?
I don't think they were actual garbage. I think that was cheap pleather.
I would have said they were garbage bags, and then people would have expected less.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, like all of this, I found in a bin somewhere. For someone who claimed autism, I was very impressed by Lavoie's Lady Boss outfit. It was very well put together. A little black, what was that, vinyl pleather.
Garbage
skirt.
bag? I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it was a garbage bag.
We don't know.
I was too distracted by the animal paws reaching around the animal print and grabbing her bosom.
I thought that was a great way to use a stuffed animal, and she still had that top it looked like a leopard print or something. It was beautiful. And a turban, it was well put together. Fingerdoo for Lavoie. Well done. Would I buy that look? No. But I was impressed for all of her moaning and whinging that she doesn't sew. That was pretty good.
That's a queen who's been to a fitting or two.
Somebody who's clearly never been even into a garment store was poor Kiki Snatch. I don't know what the hell she was wearing. It's like she was a fabric magnet and walked through the room after everyone had cut all their fabric and got all the scraps. It was just a mess.
There was something there. I mean, you could see that red heart that she started with was kind of there.
And if all she had worn was a big fuzzy red heart as a dress idea, like a burlesque dancer who's doing the dance with the big makeup puff, you know, I would have been very happy with that. But all of that other stuff was so distracting. The one thing that was good about it, though, was the dress was so horrible, it made that terrible bowl she put on as a hat look better.
I didn't even realize it was a bowl. I was just like, oh, what a bold choice to distract from the rest of the outfit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, a bowl.
Yeah, because that hat flattened that wig right the hell out. But still, her makeup was gorgeous. From the neck up, Fingerdoo for Kiki Snatch, but that's not what the challenge was. I totally gave her a Fingerdoo. I gave her a full slap of fingers. You know, no, don't do that again.
I mean, that one whole piece of fabric just seemed to be designed for her to trip on.
Yeah.
I was confused.
I was let down.
I was angry. House of Mirrors was up next, and Dita strutted her stuff in her lady boss outfit.
I thought she looked great.
I just thought there was going to be a little more to it.
Yeah. For somebody who does so and said she'd made quite a few of her outfits, this was nice, but it seemed safe. It seemed...
Yeah, pencil skirt, and a blazer.
Sated. Yeah, like sedated. She just... Like her whole low-key, you know, and it's not how you win challenges. I still gave her a Fingerdoo, but yeah, she's not winning this challenge, that's for sure.
Relisa, also not winning this challenge, but also looked good, I thought.
Way better. I thought the fact that when she grabbed that fabric when they were first looking at what they had to work with and said, this will look great on my skin, she was right. That purple was stunning on her. The dress itself, it wasn't horrible. It just, there was nothing to it. If the fabric had been less gorgeous, it would have been an uglier dress.
If she'd been less gorgeous,
yeah, no
it would have been an uglier dress.
Yeah,
Even the hat, she was wearing, you know, a matching hat to Dita that had records and CDs, and very, very 80s and very sparkly.
It looked good on her.
Looked good on her.
Yep.
Nice cohesion with the team. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, Fingerdoo for Relisa Slaves.
And then it was time for the House of Zen, and they clearly had saved the best for last.
It kept getting better. First of all, I don't like to compliment Chanel, but she looks stunning. I loved that wig. Her makeup was gorgeous. There was one moment where I thought, oh, she looks like Bernadette Peters. And I think Bernadette Peters is gorgeous. And the dress was nice. She went with an asymmetrical neckline. It was a little crafty up close, but all in all, it was a nice design. I gave her a Fingerdoo for sure.
I mean, I don't like to get close to Chanel, so I like that it looked better from further away.
Yeah. Lil was next, and Sweet Marie and the Ships at Sea.
She looked absolutely stunning.
Wow.
Nice wide leg pants and, you know, lady boss corseted blazery top thing, tiny little mustache and a cute little hat and cigarette lamp. Just everything.
The thing that I was most impressed with was that everything that she had written on her sketch that she showed Ru was there on the runway, and Ru clearly was also aware of this. So, job well done, Fingerdoo for Lil. Do you want me to go?
You could, because I have no idea how to describe this.
The best look of this group for me was Marmalade's whatever that was. It looked like a 1930s Art Deco piece for either a dance or a movie or something. It was just breathtaking. She'd taken that ornamental grass and stuck it into her hair, and it was perfectly balanced. And she had those blue sleeves that were running off her shoulders. This was so simple a look, which is why I think it was so impressive. It almost looked like she walked through some hanging fabric and it just stuck to her, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those outfits that looked a lot more simple than I imagine it is to execute. I have no idea how to put that together.
No.
Oh, you just put 3 strips of fabric? No, it'll look like garbage on me, except I can pull off anything. Let's be honest. I'm a clothes hanger. Gorgeous.
And then before the judging started, and I'm going to call shade on this, Ru pointed out that even though Saki Yu had left due to injury, it was still business as usual, which I imagine to mean they were still kicking someone out.
Gasp.
And, of course, all the queens were worried.
And all the queens immediately looked at Kiki.
Well, then we announced that Kyron, Dita, Lavoie, Relisa, and Chera were all safe, so they freaked off to the workroom. As for the queens who were left, Zahira was first to be judged, and they said the worst thing, which was that her look was basic. At least Kristen liked her presentation, made her think of herself at the, what was it, Versace show?
She was dropping names.
Yeah. As well as her booty due to liquor. Octavia didn't fare much better. She was called messy, and I think that was being kind.
Yeah, then they didn't like her barrister's weight nearly as much as Octavia did.
Yeah.
It was just, it was not great.
No.
Not great.
No.
Speaking of not great, Kiki. Nothing about that was good on any level. Everyone knew it. It was one of those judgings where, like, the judges have to say something because they're judging, but, like, everyone knows that it's terrible, so how much judging are you... You can't kick a queen while she's down.
No. Well, apparently you can.
You can. You can talk about the bowl she was wearing on her head and that she looked like E.T. in drag. It was just,
You knew it was bad when Graham said he just wanted to hug her and ask, who did this to you?
Herself.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, she had an outer saboteur.
Yeah. As for the houses, then, all three of them were in the top.
No surprise.
In fact, they were the reason there was a top half to the queens left on stage. Everyone else was in the bottom. But House's End, they loved Chanel. They thought she looked fantastic.
And Chanel wasted no time throwing the rest of her team under the bus. After talking about, wow, what a great opportunity to work with these queens. And then immediately was like, oh, and by the way, I made all of Lil's outfit. So if you like that outfit, I made that as well. Yeah. Just so you should know, Lil's outfit, I made that.
Yeah.
Lil's, me. What a charmer
that just right away I was like, oh, this workroom's going to be interesting. Speaking of Lil, they couldn't have loved her outfit more. Of course, they did say, well, what did you sew on it? And, well, Lil said, we all sewed something on everybody's. And she pointed out she had done all the accessories. So hats, gloves, shoes, bags, whatever.
Accessoire.
But still, regardless... She looked fantastic. That was her design. She did design that look. Did she make it all? No. Did that affect the way she looked? Not at all. So I think you could see Chanel starting to gnash her teeth because they seemed to love Lil's look more than hers. Well, Marmalade and her beautiful Erte-esque outfit. Oh, God, the compliments kept getting better. And I really did think that Marmalade had this down, just because hers was very unique, even though it was still in keeping with the other two looks. No one on stage looked like that. Also, it's very rare for anyone on RuPaul's Drag Race to wear something like that down the runway. So it was very innovative and fashion forward and refreshing. So I kind of, after the judges' critiques, I thought, oh, Marmalade's got this. But back in the workroom, oy vey, right away, Chanel was called out for her shenanigans, throwing Lil under the bus like that.
Which Lil seemed rather nonplussed by.
She didn't seem bothered. No, she didn't care.
Like, I don't care. We're still in the top.
Yeah. And that's the attitude I think that you need to have in a situation like that. You know, the other thing that bothers me is Chanel was spending all that time sewing other things for other queens. And at one point, it's like, well, what if you don't win? And you knew while she was sewing everyone's look, she thought the body of work that she would have accomplished for her team would have put her in the top. But no.
No, girl.
She was in the top, but she wasn't the top. I have to say, before the top and bottom queens joined the safe queens in the workroom, those safe queens also seemed to be questioning what Lil had made for her outfit.
Well, it's not like, I mean, it's not like the girls all worked on their own individual outfits all by themselves on all those other teams. Because if Zahira hadn't been on House of Cards, then I think only she would have had an outfit.
Yeah. No.
No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade, but
That's
yeah,
right.
You would have been naked. Naked girls. Maybe the barrister's wig would have worked better with a completely nude.
She could have worn
body.
it backwards and hidden behind it.
That's a party at the front.
Well, there
sure.
you go. There you go. There's your front party. Yeah. The only queens who seemed worried by anything that was going on was Kiki and Octavia, because clearly, of the queens in the bottom, those two were the ones that seemed to have the most to worry about. Back on the main stage, it was revealed that the two queens in the bottom, much as Ahira's relief, were Octavia and Kiki. No surprise, really.
No surprise.
Yeah.
The surprise was that no one was going home this week.
This was the thing.
Oh,
After
lies.
Ru pointing out that Saki Yu leaving didn't change anything, now they're all safe.
Now.
And thank God they all were so relieved. But you could see Chanel's nose was out of joint, because that meant that because the whole House of Zen was in the top, Ru wanted to see them all lip sync. And I think that was fair, because regardless of who sewed what and what did, they all look great.
Yeah.
They all look great.
So the top three got to lip sync to Kylie Minogue's Tension.
Yeah. Clearly, lip syncing is not Chanel's thing.
Not her thing.
No.
Not her
Apparently
thing.
her thing is sitting behind a sewing machine and then standing up and showing everyone what she made. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, she, of the three, was the weakest. Also, I don't know if Marmalade's outfit lent itself to a lip sync. I mean, she was able to detach her sleeves, which I thought was too bad because it took some of the drama off her gown. But she was down on the floor crawling around trying to be all sexy, but that's not what the dress wanted. You know, it was more elegant. I wish she'd taken a more
Classy approach.
Yeah. Or even like if she just kind of stood in different poses and showed off the dress as she was lip syncing, because the song itself wasn't particularly dancey.
No, and I thought Lil did a fantastic
Lil
job
killed
with it.
She looked like she was having fun, which was more than the other two queens had going for them. But she also struck some very dramatic poses and made complete eye contact with the judges and even pointed at them, and very connected. And that's the key to a good lip sync, is connecting with your audience. And so when the music stopped, I wasn't surprised that Lil was picked, but I have to say I was happy she was picked too, because Chanel is just going to eat her heart out over that.
Just a little added bonus.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
here's a Ru Peter badge for Lil, and here's just some enjoyable schadenfreude for the rest of us to enjoy munching on.
I like a good shot in
I
front.
love a good schadenfreude.
Yeah. And the other thing I thought was funny is this is a message that needed to be relayed to Chanel, which is, yeah, you can sew, but that's not going to win you Drag Race. You can be all, like, she seems to be putting a lot of gravitas into her sewing basket, and there's got to be some other tricks in there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for her sake that she's able to bring, maybe she'll shine in a comedy challenge. I don't know. I'm not her friend. I'm not going to be her friend.
I don't think I will be her friend.
No.
I don't think she's asking. But
No, she's good.
if we could just get ahead of this. Chanel, no. We're not going to be friends. Friendly? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Friends?
Yeah,
no.
I'm not going to be mean to you, but
No,
I'm
not to
not
your
inviting you
face.
over for
Not to your
coffee either.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Episode 2, done and dusted. We lost a queen, but not to an elimination. But we got a winner, Lil. That's one Ru Peter badge for Lil, one Ru Peter badge for Kieran. And poor Chanel is gnashing her teeth down to the nub. I'm excited to see what she has to say next week, because they're going to read her for being shady in the workroom. I'll be interested to see how she spins it. The other thing that I'm finding interesting with Chanel is because they filmed the confessionals at the end of the whole thing, I find it very obvious that Chanel is narrating her story and spinning it as she's narrating it. Because we see her doing one thing and then she tries to give it some justification in that confessional. And
Yeah, you can't save yourself from the edit.
no.
You can't do it. Because guess what? They can still edit your confessionals as well. They can still edit all that stuff. So, I think I see what you're trying to do. And I don't think it's going to work.
No.
And I would like to say, I believe last episode I said I was going to be picking on Lavoie all season. No.
I fell in love
I've
with
made
her
a
this
terrible
episode.
mistake.
Yeah.
I have fallen in love with Lavoie and Chanel. I would like to just set the record straight. I will be picking on Chanel for this season.
I don't know if it's going to be called picking on when she sets herself up.
I will be pointing out the
I think it's
obvious...
community service. I think you're doing community service because she's clearly leaving all of this obstacles in her wake.
Fair enough, yeah. I will be pointing out the obvious truths about Chanel.
Yeah.
The painful truths.
Yeah. She shouldn't be proud. Yeah. Well, there you go. That is episode 2 done and dusted. Are you happy with the way it turned out?
Well, with this recording or with the recording that we did last week? I don't know. I feel like this one's a little snappier.
No, I meant the episode, not us.
I'm thrilled. I'm still excited about this season. They really kicked it off with a strong first episode, and I think the episode 2, even though most of the queens could not sew, was still thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah. Lots of drama, lots of good drag, lots of fun. Lots of people to pick on. I'm
disappointed that Chanel feels that she has to be a bitch about everything. But there always seems to be one queen every season who feels like she has to be the bitch. Yeah. And I'm not always a fan of that myself. Well, there you go. Episode 2 done and dusted. I'm excited for episode 3. I think that we've got a great cast ahead of us. I'm also very excited because I'm falling in love with Lavoie.
Yeah.
So much fun. I didn't think I would like her. She seemed very kind of pillish in the first episode, but clearly not at all. The big pill is Chanel. I don't think there's enough water to swallow that pill. I'm just saying. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that too. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave a comment because they help the algorithm and help force out my video on unsuspecting viewers. And I would appreciate that. Don't forget, you can leave a tip or do through the YouTube thanks button or my OG PayPal link in the description box down below. Also, in the description box are also links to my Redbubble store where you can get some Wilma merch and a link to my Patreon page where the Fingerdoo family meets twice a month for a live chat. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having.
And until next time, miss us. Mwah!
Seriously, I can't wait to record this episode again.
We had better not have to record it a third time.
Did you record it? Did you press the button? Was I supposed to press the button?
Damn it. If the red light on? Is the red light on? That in there. Do you see it?
No.
Up there.
Where?
Next to the lens. Do you see that red?
Oh, I'm red-green colorblind. I don't see anything.
Are you really?
Huh? No.
Oh
God, you look red.
I almost believed you. I forgot you were a big liar.
I lie constantly.
You're a terrible liar.
You look amazing. Constantly.
How rude.
How rude. The crust.
The crust.
From the house of Chanel.
Ugh.
I went to the Chanel finishing school.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think you had a semester left. I don't think you're quite finished.
No, not quite baked. Back in the oven. Be careful you say that too.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Especially this day and age.
Oof. Gonna be cancelled.
No kidding.
Cancelled.
It's my channel. If you cancel my channel, I will give you a
part in, it's entirely your fault. You've no one to blame but yourself.
I don't like you.
I never liked you.
Oh good, okay.
Who are you?
What's happening?
Where's the rest
Whose
of the
hands are these?
I thought you said there was gonna be some fun people coming over.
No, I lied.